As of when this video is being made, almost every Cedar Fair park has announced what they are getting next year. The only two parks that have yet to make their announcements is Michigan's Adventure and Canada's Wonderland. Every other park has made their announcement, and spoiler alert, the only roller coaster coming next year is to Kings Island, which again follows that pattern of what Matt Ouimet has been doing, and that is putting in one new roller coaster every year in the chain, which I think frustrates a lot of people, because here you have this big company that is putting in roller coasters to the parks that don't necessarily need it. This year was Cedar Point, next year is Kings Island. They already got big roller coasters in the past few years. And in years past, what Cedar Fair has done is when they add in a new wooden roller coaster, they also add in a steel coaster, but this year it is just the wooden coaster. So what are the other parks getting? Flat rides, which is definitely beneficial to some of these parks. Look at what Carowinds is doing. They're expanding County Fair, which really looks nice. They're adding in a wave swinger, a top scan, and a couple other flats. And you also have Valley Fair adding North Star, a 230-foot Starflyer, the first ever Starflyer in the Cedar Fair chain. So clearly it sounds like they're done with Windseekers. And I think that attractions like those are going to be really great for these parks. But it sounds like, yet again, this is going to be a year where people are disappointed that their home park didn't get something huge. They feel like Cedar Fair is only focusing on the large parks. Cedar Point is getting this brand new Soak City expansion that includes new water slides, a new name, Cedar Point Shores, and the water park is also going to have a brand new entrance, which is going to be a great improvement. And they're also expanding the hotels. They did not mention Mean Streak, which tells us that probably that was going to be a 2018 project. And then we also have Worlds of Fun, which is going to be getting some flat rides. Which we knew Worlds of Fun was going to be getting those flat rides because it was announced a while ago through some newspapers that they were going to be getting some flat rides from Europe. So that isn't surprising, but with a park like King's Dominion, people were very disappointed. They're expanding Planet Snoopy, which to me just doesn't seem justified because we already had the world's largest Planet Snoopy. This expansion doesn't seem necessary. I feel that there were other things they could have added in the park that would have been better, because this really only benefits the kids, which is understandable that you have to expand the kids' areas and focus on things for them, but they just did that 3 years ago, so that's why I don't understand their 2017 plans. Now, in my opinion, if you want to hit both audiences and expand Planet Snoopy, but also add something that would have made Planet Snoopy actually better, add in a Zamperla Disco or a kiddie coaster like one of the Flying Ace rides. Those would actually be legit improvements to Planet Snoopy, and it would have prevented all of us from complaining. The 3 kiddie rides they chose are carnival rides. If they wanted to make Planet Snoopy actually better, look at Kings Island's Planet Snoopy and what they have, and throw in one of those family rides that are actually going to improve Planet Snoopy. And to top it all off, they teased Hurler, and what did we not get? Information about Hurler. Many coaster enthusiasts, including myself, are expecting a huge new thrill ride next year, whether it be in the form of a Hurler makeover or a new roller coaster, whatever it might be. But instead, we did not get a ride for us. We only got rides for the kids. And that's why we're disappointed. We aren't going to ride any of the rides that Kings Dominion is getting next year. So yes, that was disappointing. And I think overall, 2017 is going to be a slow year for roller coasters. If Cedar Fair is only adding Mystic Timbers and Six Flags is rumored to only be adding in a couple S&S 4D free spins, there's not any huge outstanding attractions that are going to be coming next year that we know about. I mean, let's think about this for a second. We know that next year, Busch Gardens Williamsburg is adding Invader, and also you have SeaWorld San Antonio, which is supposed to be adding in a motorbike coaster, and we know there's an RMC T-Rex that is coming at some point, but we don't know where. But it sounds like 2017 isn't going to be this big new year with awesome roller coasters like we had this year or last year. I mean, there are plenty of good things, though, like you have Winterfest coming to Kings Island, Carowinds, and Worlds of Fun, which I think is great. It sounds like an awesome addition. I think sooner or later, a lot of these parks are going to be open for the winter, which is spectacular. So while all of these are great additions, unfortunately, I don't think anything really spectacular is coming next year. I mean, you have some of these rides and attractions which are going to be great additions, but I think to some extent, even including Mystic Timbers, it just looks like a really good ride, nothing really spectacular. Again, absolutely these additions are going to benefit these parks. I mean, look at Vortex at California's Great America becoming a floorless coaster. So it's getting the Rougarou treatment, which I think is great. And Dorney Park is adding a Troico. And I think that's pretty disappointing for people because they haven't added a new roller coaster since 2012, and that was a used hand-me-down roller coaster. So I think just to put a conclusion on this whole thing, I'm pleased with what some parks are getting, but some parks I think they definitely could be getting something better. And frankly, I just don't understand why Cedar Fair feels that they should only put in one new roller coaster in the chain each year. Because you look at something like Valraven, that went to Cedar Point, which they just got a new coaster a few years ago, and supposedly Valraven only cost $18 million. So it's like understandable when they added Fury 325 and that was the only coaster in 2015 because that was this huge expansion, huge new roller coaster, but Valraven supposedly only cost $18 million. So I feel like they could have put in another like $10 million GCI somewhere else in the chain. And when you have something like Mystic Timbers, I don't believe the price tag has been released for that, but it's probably around like $15 million if I had to take a guess. I don't know, maybe it's more, maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't understand why they can't add in another roller coaster in the chain if they have the money to do so. Look, I'm not hating on Cedar Fair. I think that they're great and what they're adding really is going to be beneficial to some of these parks. But sometimes I just question their choices of what they decide to send to some of these parks. But I want to hear about your thoughts for Cedar Fair 2017. Do you agree with me with some of these things? Do you disagree with me? And of course, make sure to stay tuned for a Six Flags 2017 video. They're making their announcements on September 1st, so I will be there to come out with some videos to talk about what they're adding next year. If you're new to Coaster Studios, make sure to subscribe and check out some of my other videos I've done, and I'll catch you guys next time.